welcome back again. Once again, immigration. That's my topic. That's what I know. That's part of what I know because I've lived it. Been there for 9 months, almost a year actually, in an immigration camp. Left behind 1,600 immigrants who were fighting their way to stay in the United States legally. Some of them didn't have a fighting chance. Some of them didn't know really the reliefs that were there. Some of them just didn't want to bother. A lot of them were people who had entered the United States several times illegally, and they were getting caught. They'd gotten caught, and they were getting deportated one more time again. Whenever you get caught and in the United States illegally, and this has been something that you've repeatedly done, you get time for it. So some people were in there for 5 years, not for committing a crime, but for returning to the country once again illegally. A lot of these people have families here, and they really have no recourse because they were not in the beginning to supposed to enter the United States at all. Some of them might have been deported before because they'd committed a crime. And once you commit a crime in the United States, there is no way that you can possibly get to stay here legally, even if you have family ties. I don't care what sort of situation you have. You can't prove to them in any kind of way that you can stay here ever again legally. Even if you get married to someone that's a United States citizen, you are not going to be able to stay here legally. That's just the way the U.S. law works. There's no taking it back. There is no proving anything. You just have to fly under the radar. I have had a lot of people who I've spoken to who came here by, and that's illegally, on sailboats and speedboats, taking chances at night, trying to duck the radars of the Coast Guard, getting caught. A lot of them have told me horror stories how some of the passengers on board have been thrown overboard because they might dispute a lot of the ways and the routes that the person who was taking them to the United States are taken. So a lot of them don't really reach the United States legally. Um, and I'm sorry, not legally, but they don't reach the United States, period, because they are dead on either arrival or dead before arrival. Um, it's a sad situation, but there are a lot of people who are desperate to come here, not just because they want to come here and commit crimes, but because they want to come here and make life for their families who live in other countries, make it better. Because the U.S. dollar is so much stronger, the economy in the U.S. is so much stronger than their country that just $1 to them equates almost for a weekly um, meal for their family. So they would rather take the chances, come here illegally, cut grass, do whatever under the table job that they can possibly get to send money back to their loved ones. As I told you before, that there were some people who worked in this immigration camp where I was, and they were making only $30 a month. And that $30 a month, they were sending back to their families so they could survive. Um, you know, it's unfortunate that life has to be that way, but some of us are better off than others in a whole lot of ways, and we don't even realize it. Okay, so just want to touch bases on that, and I also want to touch bases on the N600 once again. As I said before, if you have um, come here as a minor and your parent was a citizen, I want you to seriously check into that to make sure that you are a citizen. Even if you committed a crime 10, 20, 50 million times, you are not deportable. They cannot deport you. Okay? It's very time consuming, the wait. And But it's worth it, definitely worth it. If you don't have the money, which is about $600 to file the paperwork, Immigration will give you a waiver form, and you prove to them that there is no way that you can possibly pay, and they will waive the fee, and you'll get your documentation if you can prove to them that you are supposed to be here legally. There's a lot of documentation that's involved, a lot of documentation that you should make sure that you can find, and you shouldn't give up on, because it's your right. What's the law is the law, period. And you can't be deported if you are in the right. Now, a lot of people, we want to touch bases on asylum and refugees and people who are coming now from countries who they're persecuted, and for whatever reasons the laws um, just doesn't sit right on their side. It might be a family issue, where the government doesn't like them, where they are just persecuted for whatever reason, women, children, black, white, whatever situation they are. They Spanish. A lot of my Spanish friends, they find themselves in a situation where it's a life or death situation. So they try to run to the United States, to find a better life for themselves, for their families, and they think that once they get to the shores here, the life is going to be better. Of course, you and I know as regular citizens, if you're watching me as an American citizen or wherever you are, you know, um, it's um, it's a challenge every day to get up and make a living and feed your family. But because of the way the laws are structured in the United States, you can get away with so much more than you could in a third world country or a country who just doesn't see you for um, who you are, your family's name, the tribe you're from, so on and so forth. Um, anyway, as I was trying to get to the point of saying is that you have to research, and find these places that will take you in, give you some sort of sanctuary. I have a few of them that I want to mention, which is let's see, it's Just Neighbors. Just Neighbors, and it's a nonprofit organization, and they will sit down individually and research your situation and tell you what is really the right course for you to take. Another one is HIS, and that is a Pennsylvania advocacy group. Provides legal resettlement services to low income residents. Okay, and they will definitely help you. Other relief besides the N60 is the 240, which you should look into, the 212H, and as I mentioned before, marriage. Once again, you can only get married to someone if you've come into this country legally, and you can find someone who you fall in love with, because that's what the United States wants to see happen. That you fell in love with this person and you want to marry this person, um, out of love, not out of trying to get citizenship papers. And as I touched bases with you, and I told you that what they do is they do their own research. The um, the Department of Immigration is very smart, very clever, and they know the ins and outs, and how people try to get around this process um, by paying people, even a crackhead, or a drug addict, just get somebody off the street just to marry him, just for a piece of paper, so to speak. So they are extremely careful about stamping any document that will say that you're a citizen, unless you can prove to them that this person who is supposed to be your other half. So I want you to take into consideration everything that you possibly do in terms of trying to get that sort of relief, if that's the way you decide to go. If you are a man and you want to marry another man, and you're a woman and you want to decide to marry another woman, that's basically up to you. That's if it's out of love, or whatever your situation is, that's totally up to you. But that's a lot of what goes on now. Ever since a child, I've realized this immigration situation and known a lot of people who have lived under the radar of immigration, and use several documents for different things because they don't want to be spotlighted in any way. They get up every day and they don't know what person they want to be, you know, each and every day. No one wants to live like that. I know I didn't want to live like that. I always told myself that if I was deported, I'd never come back to the United States because I could never live under the radar, and live under the shadow like that each and every day just to live in a country. I'd go back to my own country and survive. I'd find a way to survive. Um, I would say almost fortunately that didn't work that way. I do have a family here. I've left my country since I was 18. Love my country. However, this is where I'm based. And I'm sure that a lot of people feel that way when they're based here. They don't want to go anywhere else. And this is where they call home. And this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this series to help people who want to either make this their home or you know who have been here and this is their home. This is their home. This is where they should be. So I'm hoping that the process that I'm doing, leading up to a book that I'm going to publish very shortly, will help you know a lot of people to get reliefs. There are like 11.1 million undocumented immigrants living in the United States. 11.1 million. That is a lot of people who are living under the shadows each and every day, not knowing whether or not ICE is going to kick in their door, find out about their whereabouts, and cast them off to an immigration camp or send them through the process that will take months before they even get deported back to their country. Um, it's sad that this has to happen, but that's U.S. law, and that's how they operate for every country that has a law, and you're caught. That's what happens. Even now with Donald Trump being the president of the United States, um, Donald Trump's main thing when he became president of the United States was to deport every illegal um, resident in the United States, and that's what they've been doing. They've been having these flash of raids all over the place to grab people, snatch people up, and deport them. So I want you to keep in mind all these reliefs that I've told you about, and I hope that these reliefs help you in any sort of way that you can possibly use them. I hope that my book will help you to gain your freedom, your ability to live, without being in a um, boxed in situation where you wonder whether or not you go out and you get stopped by the police, you'll get arrested, and you'll never see your kids again. I've read so many stories about people who have lived here for a very long time and they just get pulled over by the police just for driving, and they never return to their family ever again. We're talking about young kids who are American citizens who don't have their parents anymore to watch over, to care for them. Um, it's that's just the way it is. They're left. Their kids are left behind. There's some who are married to American citizens. So it might be the mother situation, or it might be the father situation, but they're left. The other parent is left, who is in the United States, is left to raise the children. Um, who wants to be without a mother or father? If that is the situation that the child is known for almost their whole entire life, and the fight is almost impossible. You can fight all you want. Immigration, um, you're knocking yourself on a brick wall. It's not going to happen. If your documents aren't in order, if your relief is not um, qualifiable, it's not going to happen. You're just going to live in in a shadow. You're not going to be able to have any kind of a recourse at all. That's just the way immigration law works. So, another thing that I wanted to touch bases with you is the fact that if you have any sort of money laying around and you want to fight immigration through the course of a lawyer, stop. Don't do it. Okay. Find a place that will help you. You know, you have a lot of these advocacy groups. You can go online and you can research them. They are based each and every state that will help you for free. You're going to be wasting your money with an attorney. Let me tell you that they are bloodsuckers, these immigration attorneys. That's all they want to do is sell you the Brooklyn Bridge, and they can't deliver. You know, if you can in any way use your own resources before you use a lawyer, I'd advise you to do it. I'm living proof that attorneys will rob you blind. Immigration attorneys will rob you blind. And most attorneys, period, will take advantage of you if you don't know the law or how to get around the law or what the law is. And this is one of the reasons why they make so much money, because if you are not educated or not versed on what it is you are fighting for, then you're going to be taken advantage of. And that's just exactly how it works. Once again, I feel for a lot of you who are out there who have no recourse, who have no other means of living a normal life in the United States, and you definitely do want to stay here. But what I would advise you to do is don't give up. Fight every single which way you possibly can on all the reliefs that I mentioned, on the 212H, on the asylum, possibly file for asylum. Even a lot of you who are deported from or going to be deported from a lot of the smaller countries or larger countries, whatever country you're from, you can file for asylum. The thing with asylum is that you have to show proof that you are going to be persecuted in some way if you go back to your country. Okay. The refugee situation, as you know, or if you don't know, you know, Trump has ended a lot of the countries who used to seek asylum um, to stop them from even coming to the United States. So you need to check into that too. The thing with immigration law is that it changes so often. It is such a tough law to follow, especially when you have new presidencies or a new president coming into to power. It is so tricky to watch, to keep up with. So that's why you might think that you have it figured out one way and you don't. Um, and the immigration attorney might think he has it figured out one way and he or she does not. So I would absolutely advise you to, whatever situation that you're in, and only you know the situation that you're in. A lot of you don't want to tell a lot of the people who are around you or surround you about your situation because you don't feel comfortable doing it, because you feel that they might call on you and have you deported. So, you know, you have all these advocacy groups that will help you for free. that of course will not turn you in. They will help you. They will let you know whether or not you have a leg to stand on. And that's important for a lot of you to figure out exactly how you want to live your life and exactly which way you want to take your fight. Once again, I wish you luck. God bless you. And one more video I'll make, and it will be exactly where you can purchase my book. And I hope the book will help you from the beginning to the end to understand my troubles, my fight, my trials, my tribulations, um, and it will help you. It will help you to solve whatever situation that you're in. A lot of you who are watching me, you have family members who have been deported, and if you research a lot of these reliefs, you'll find out that they're sitting in these countries and they have been deported, um, not illegally, because they did not know their rights, but they have been deported because they didn't know their rights. And so you can possibly, and I should say you can definitely file those release for them and get them back into your lives all over again to help you raise your kids, to be a husband again, an uncle, an aunt, um, a friend, whatever situation that you find that this person means to you. And I hope that my videos have been helpful to you and your family. God bless you.